So, welcome back to Stillwater Phantom. I'm here with
Toto McWilliams.
Alright, we just had our premium shop challenge, and you actually top forward.
Fourth place.
Alright, cool. Well, what deck did you actually play?
I played Tachikaze. I've been playing Tachikaze since set 3 came out, the original set 3, and it's the only deck I've ever spent money on ever since.
Oh wow, cool. Well, before we begin, do you want to talk a little bit about your day, your matchups or anything?
I mean, this is my first top 4. It's also my first premium tournament, so I didn't expect either of the two things to happen. I kind of just threw things together because some of my bros in this shop wanted me to come, give me an opportunity to play some premium. And so I went over my whole collection, threw it together, showed up, didn't expect much out of it, and then 4-1 in pools, beat the X and O, made it into top 4, and then 2 swift ones to the gut to get 4th place. But I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. It's more than I expected.
Well, nice. You want to go through your deck profile, tell us a little bit of your thought process and everything?
Yep. All right, I'll go through it. All right, so it is pretty much a hybrid between Gaia G support and V-era early game aggression.
Okay.
I'm going to start with the main deck. Starter is Dragon Egg. I think the V starters are a little better in premium format because there's so much stuff that can snipe you out of the back row, and drawing cards is always good. I'm going to keep it going as much as I can, so I ended up running Dragon Egg instead of the Camaro. Triggers, I play 6 criticals with how many cards can attack multiple times in this deck. Well, with Dogma or getting 4 criticals off of Gaia Devastate, just slapping the additional ones on work. And like I said, now that I have some V support, I've got early game pressure, and crits are much better early game than fronts are. So I ended up going for 6 crits and no fronts.
Okay.
I run 2 Cola Magnum.
Oh, really?
Cola Magnum is not usually just used as the trigger. In fact, it rarely gets off. But the effect is really good. Once it's retired, I can get a draw, I can get 5k on a unit, and this gets shuffled back. So because I tend to draw a lot, what with the new V support putting a lot of cards into my hand, it's nice to refresh the deck a little bit. And this can also take a Dogma up to 41k if you need, because if the opponent has checked a defensive trigger, that will get you a lot more guard stages.
Okay.
You know, the standard 4 heal, except I play 3 of the V series heal, and I play 1 Convalescent Eunice. It's not really a huge deal, but V series heal is significantly better when you can get it, because you get 10k instead of a 5k, and it is a 20k shield base instead of a 10k shield base. But running the single A Eunice is okay for me, because sometimes you're just completely tapped out of Counterblast, completely tapped out of Soul Blast, and giving yourself the opportunity to squeeze in a little more is worth it more often than not. And mandatory premium series, 4-draw Perfect Guards. Perfect Guards are good.
Okay.
Grade 0s aren't done yet. I play a single baby Camaro because it is pretty much just a better grade 1 than any grade 1 I have in my deck, but it happens to have 5k power. Being able to search any of my grade 1s is really convenient when I need to put a new Gaia into my hand, when I need a little more aggression, when I need to replenish my resources. Camaro is your jack of all trades and is 10k shield in the hand, which isn't awful. Alright, so moving on to grade 1s. Play 4 Prism Bird, the Stride Assist for Tachikaze. Gaia is a pretty important card to have in this deck because there's not a lot of self-returners in my build. So playing Gaia is the thing that allows me to start getting more than 3 attacks. I play 4 Lacerator X from VPT, from V Extra Booster 01. Having an AK attack comes in much more often than you think it would, because having 2 of them creates 16, and with a lot of the hearts in this game having 11k in premium format, that gives you a 5k to shield, and that's good. Also, I don't tend to use a lot of soul in this deck. All of the best Gaia finishers use Counterblast, and so burning the soul just to give me a few extra cards comes in handy.
Okay.
I play 3 Freezer Nicks, not 4, because there's a lot of room in this deck for tech options, and so I cut it down because I can search them when I need to, and I'll have one usually. If you're playing smart, you probably won't run out of resources, so playing 3 is okay because you won't burn out as often and you won't need to replenish as often, but the fact still remains that it sets you up to never burn out.
Okay.
And I play 3 Raven Terra. Raven Terra is one of the last cards that V Tachikaze got, and it returns itself to the field for a Soul Blast and can countercharge if you're running out of Counterblast. This is one of the only self-returners in this deck, because this deck is focused more around the Vanguard and hitting them over and over again, rather than using multiple attacks, but being able to bring it back when you need to, especially when you have an Excel circle on the field, can come in handy.
Okay.
Alright, so that's all my grade 1s. That ends at 14. Moving on to grade 2s. I play 4 Mega Rex from the V series.
Okay.
Mega Rex is good for early game pressure. Having a 9k base and being able to draw for only the cost of a retiring comes in handy when we play units like Lacerator X.
Okay.
Because you put it back, you gotta draw off of Mega Rex, you gotta draw off Lacerator X, and then you go through with your Vanguard attack. Also, at the end of the game, this can reach a surprisingly high amount of power, because if the opponent doesn't have a lot of retirement cards, it can keep growing its equip gauges unchecked, and I hit for like 26, I think, today, just off of Mega Rex.
Okay.
I play 4 Casmalukes. Casmalukes is an odd card because it only works in a Gaia build. It is restrained only to Gaia, because when you call it and you don't have a Gaia Vanguard or a Gaia card in your hand, it goes down to 5k for the turn. But when you're playing the G zone that I am, you can get dumb amounts of power on this card. It's not uncommon that I have 4, 5, 6 cards face up in my G zone with Engorge. I'm still kind of praying for a G Guardian with Engorge on it, but maybe one day. And he'll keep stacking up the power, providing a 10k base for the very common 9k rear guards in this format. And overall, it's just a solid unit that I couldn't bring myself to replace without sacrificing card advantage.
Okay.
I play 3 Sarco Blaze, and I actually wanted to play 4. I was intending on playing 3 Casmalukes and 4 Sarco Blaze, but I'm kind of a messy guy. I own a playset of every card in the Tachikaze clan, and because of that, they're a little all over the place. I couldn't find my 4th Sarco Blaze, and I don't have any extras, so I just threw the 3 in, prayed I would find them when I needed to, and I happened to. I think Sarco Blaze is good in premium format because a lot of people are playing the premium draw trigger perfect guards, and this will block off both perfect guards and guarding with triggers. So when you run up against a card that has V support and plays those draw PGs, Sarco Blaze can just slap them on an Excel circle. That's all for the grade 2s.
Wait. So you're not running no tank mammoths?
I'm not running tank
no
mammoths.
tank mammoths?
No, and I'm going to explain that a little more in my G zone.
Alright, then. Let me shut up and keep going.
Mammoths are dead, let them stay dead. I play 3 Gigarex, and I play Gigarex solely because of the Excel circle. That's pretty much the only thing he provides to this deck, unless I'm really crapping out on Stride. Excel is just a dumb mechanic. It's incredibly good. I'm not saying it's overpowered, but I'm saying that it's my favorite thing in Vanguard right now, and if I can shove Excel markers into a deck, I will. So if you ride Gigarex, get the Excel marker, stride onto a Gaia, all your effects will still work, and you have an additional rearguard attacking. It's good. Worst comes to worst, I can shove some markers underneath of a Megarex.
Okay.
I play 2 Gaia Emperor. As mentioned before, Gaia Emperor is super important for when you want to bring your important critical cards back, like my Casmalukes, so I can hit them with 19k twice, or if I want to bring back a Megarex and keep drawing more cards, he's really versatile. And in addition to this, with how good some retiring cards are in the meta, you get to hold your hand until you reach, say, grade 3, stride, call, and then go from there, because he can call 2 from his hand before he applies the resurrection. I think if you're playing premium and you're playing Tachikaze, you should play at least 1 Emperor for the hell of it.
Okay.
I put 1 Gaia Desperado, and I also was not planning on doing this. Like I said, I threw this together at the last minute. I wanted to be playing 3 of the normal Gaia and no Desperado, but he actually came in handy more often than I thought he would as a 16k attacker. sometimes you just need to kill more units to trigger your effects, and he gets that off. But I do advise if you play my list in the future, play 3 Gaia instead of 2 Gaia and 1 Desperado. My last thing is probably the spiciest of them. I play 1 Heavy Arzine, only 1, and I unfortunately had to write
What
it
is this?
way more times than I wanted to today. Heavy Arzine is an 11k grade 3 from G era that when he is engorged and he's retired by your Vanguard with the engorge ability, so a lot of disclaimers, you can check the top 4 cards of your deck and call 2 of them. More often than not, he's dead in the water. I do not recommend playing this card in the future, which is a horrible thing to say in a deck profile when you just got 4th. But I'm telling you, take him out. Just run another Gaia. Unfortunately, I live for the thrill. I threw him in, and I checked 2 Kazmalukes when I already had 4 Engorge units in my G zone. So I killed him, dropped 2 22k rear guards, shook my opponent's hand. That's
nice.
the only time he's going to work for you, I promise. Alright, that's the whole main deck, so we're going to move on to the G deck. Now, part of the reason I don't run any tank mammoths is because I run 4 Gaia Dynast. Please ignore the odd man out. I say, mentioning the odd man outs. I'm a big fan of Gaia. He carried me through G Series and is one of my favorite iterations of Tachikaze yet, second behind Ancient Dragon. Most people only run 2 Gaia Dynast, and I run 4 for the sole reason that you don't need to retire 5 units. Dogma is an amazing card, I'm not gonna lie. Dogma has carried me through more wins than I deserve. But Gaia Dynast not only can unflip your damage, he can bring back an upwards of 3 to 4 rear guards, and he can retire your opponent's rear guards, which Dogma cannot. I think this is too versatile not to run 4, and because he can bring things back, you can run less self-returners and more power boosts to just beat people down.
Okay.
I run 4 more of a different Gaia, Gaia Devastate. This card is dumb. It is not as dumb as Dogma, but it is still very dumb. If you retire 3 of your own units, you are hitting with a 36, 2 crit, quadruple attacking Vanguard that drew you an additional card before you quadruple drive. That's 5 cards off 1. And it can also retire the entirety of your opponent's field. It's equally as versatile as Dynast, save for replenishing your resources, and hits for a lot more than Dynast usually does.
Okay.
I think play 4 in all Tachikaze lists. I'm running 2 Dogma. I really should not have to explain this because Dogma is the dumbest card in Tachikaze.
Yeah, that's why you only run 2?
I'm only running 2 because, like I said, I don't run many self-returners. So a lot of times when I ride Dogma, if I didn't ride him on top of base Gaia, he's going to wipe my field and none of them are going to come back.
Okay.
Sometimes that hurts you. If they have 2 PGs, your triggers are doing nothing. If you brought no self-returners, you really only got 4 attacks. And only 4 attacks isn't always good compared to the other decks in the meta. So he is still an amazing finisher, but when you play Tachikaze as often as I have, you have a good idea of when he is and when he is not going to kill the opponent. I advise just getting comfortable with a deck and cutting him down to make your G-Zone more versatile.
Okay.
I run a single copy of Grado Gigant. Grado Gigant is the stride you use when your opponent has absolutely no rear guards and you can't go into Dogma. He's not ridden very often, but he can get plus 15 in a draw if you retire 3 units on your field. And he's the only card in this deck that does nothing to the opponent's rear guards at GB1. So I just held on to it for no reason. That's all my G units. I play 11 and I play 5 G Guardians. Moving on to the G Guardians, I play 2 Bullish Primer. Bullish Primer gains 5k for every open rearguard circle you have, so it's not uncommon that I drop him and I get 40k shield. Unfortunately, because he has to flip a G Guardian, it ends up with me only being able to G Guard twice. But when you're G Guarding with a 40k and you're aggressive as we are, that's not a huge problem in my opinion.
Okay.
I run a single copy of Blockade Ganga because sometimes you have a full field. And by sometimes I mean once in like every 20 games, but sometimes you have a full field on your opponent's turn, and Blockade Ganga protects 2 of them from being permanently taken away. When they're retired, they go to your hand and you can recycle them on the next turn. It's really situational, but I think a lot of G-Guards are situational. And worst comes to worst, I can just flip it up with Bullish Primer.
Okay.
Another situational one, I run 1 Dimorphalonx. I run Dimorphalonx because Bullish Bullish Primer is GB1, and sometimes you're at GB0 when you need to G-Guard. He'll go up to 20k shield. It's the same as my heal trigger, but it enables Generation Break, so I'm kind of okay with it. It's really just because Tachikaze only has 4 G-Guards, and so you might as well just run most of them. I think they actually only have 3 G-Guards. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm a failure to the clan. Last one isn't a Tachikaze. It's Mixed Element Colburn that I really thought I wasn't going to be able to run. I finally grabbed my last one right before the tournament started. And this is really good against decks that draw way more than they deserve to draw. Gear Chronicle, Oracle Think Tank, it happens more often than not. And so you throw them in, again, just on the situational case that you play against that deck. If you don't, you flip it with Bullish Primer and you steamroll the game anyways.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's the whole list, 16 and 50. I think this deck is really good if you want to play high aggression clans with creative plays during your turn. It's not as interactive during the opponent's turn. Usually you have no rear guards, you have no spectacular G-Guardians, but you hit hard and you hit fast. And to an Excel player, that's all that matters.
All right, so with that being said, one last question. So you mentioned it a little bit before about some of the cards you want to run. Is there anything besides that you personally would add or take out from the deck?
I think there's other builds that can be made an argument for in Premium. Like I said, this is my first Premium tournament, so I've not done as much experimenting as I would like to. But I think, besides the recommendations I made, the only other option is to go full pure V-Series / some G-Series Rexes. It has a much better early game, so if that's acquainted to your meta, it goes well for you. But at the end of the day, no, I wouldn't change this Gaia list much. I've played Gaia for a very long time, and I'm basically just playing what used to be standard Gaia in Premium right now. This is, in my opinion, the best list you should play, built around Gaia.
Well, thank you very much, and congratulations on your first top 4 in the Shop Challenge. Hope to see more deck profiles along and more fights with you and your Tachis. So, with that being said, thanks for watching.
Not dead!